Welcome to Sovereign Mamas, the podcast sanctuary for visionary women who are building lives, businesses, and legacies in alignment with their feminine power. I'm your host, Julia Jörg, intuitive business coach, mama of two, and systems strategist for soul-led entrepreneurs. Here, we honor both your sacred role as a mama and your wild vision as a changemaker. Expect soul-aligned strategy, raw storytelling, behind the scenes, and powerful conversations that support you in scaling your business without sacrifice. If you're done choosing between success and sovereignty, you're home. Let's begin. Welcome to the Sovereign Mamas podcast. Sami, welcome to this show. I'm excited and very curious to talk to you and tackle all the things you are doing. So how are you, first of all, today?
I am really good today. The sun is out. It's feeling like summertime. Yesterday was cold and rainy, so we've been outside a lot today, and I feel really good, really energized, really excited to talk with you. And yeah, I'm really good today. Yeah.
Amazing. And I did love the fact that we connected on Facebook and I saw what you're doing. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, right? When you start something, I don't know if you've experienced that, or when you decide to buy a Mercedes, suddenly you see driving around Mercedes everywhere. When you want to
Everywhere.
become pregnant, you see pregnant women everywhere. And
Yeah.
so the minute I made this decision that I want to support mompreneurs and debunk the myths that you can't have it both, that you either have to choose for motherhood or entrepreneurship. Now I'm attracting women like you who are on a similar mission. And so
I
let's
love it.
dive in because you
Yeah.
are walking a path that is very parallel to mine and in the most beautiful way. And yeah, together we are a part of a collective that's reimagining of what it means to
Yeah.
be and lead. So let's talk about it.
Yes, I love it. Yes, slowly we're redefining it. We're rewriting it so that it's everything that it can be, everything that we want it to be.
What was something like a personal turning point for you where you realized, all right, traditional motherhood, that's just not good enough or not enough for you?
I think so. I'll tell you a little of my story because it's like it like weaves in and out because I would say I really like the traditional. I feel like I am somewhat traditional, though I do not cook. My husband cooks and he's an amazing cook. But traditional in the other sense of I want to be a really amazing example for my kids of how to move through life and not necessarily like set this goal and hit this goal, but more like how to be in life and enjoy it when things are hard and enjoy it when it's fun and just kind of move through life without all of the heaviness and the constriction and all this pressure that we put on ourselves or all of the shoulds or we shouldn'ts or all of this stuff. So I love researching. And before I ever got pregnant, I had to dive into pregnancy because I wanted to do it my way, but I knew nothing about pregnancy. I'd never been pregnant before, never give birth before. So I deep dove into everything that there is to know about pregnancy and birth and the postpartum so that I could really do it my way, the way I want to do it, that felt good to me. I didn't want to do it the way that everyone was saying that you had to do it. And I just really felt like the more knowledge I could have, then the better decision I could make for me and what felt good for me. So then fast forward, this is kind of how I live my life. And my second postpartum hit me hard, like really, really hard. I was perfectly fine being mom of one and we were having fun. We were hiking. I didn't feel the urge necessarily to like create a business or a movement. I was like, maybe one day when the energy's there, it'll be great. But like right now, I'm really enjoying being like mom to this little girl and showing her that like this caterpillar is eating this leaf or whatever we're doing. But then when I had my second, it really rocked me. I had really bad postpartum rage and was deep in survival mode, and did a bunch of healing work and came out the other side. And really, that's what made me be like, oh my gosh, we have to advocate so much for ourselves as moms, as women. We almost have to fight to be heard, or maybe heard. Maybe people hear us, but they don't listen, which I guess is kind of heard. But anyways, we have to fight to really make our wants and our desires and everything clear. And we don't know what we don't know. And so I really had this urge, because I had to go and seek out help and support for myself. And a lot of people do that. Like, a lot of moms will go and find whatever resources that they need, but it's hard. Like, it's hard. So I thought, why not create a library of resources that bring in all of these professionals and these experts that you can just walk in and have access to all of them. And in doing so, it brought me down this road of deepening my understanding of the subconscious and the nervous system, and what true freedom like really is, where we can have all of the information, but like, if we're not internally really at peace, we won't enjoy our life. So that, I think, that kind of then brings me back to, I started to really deeply feel that and was like, oh my gosh, I just want all the moms to feel this way. I want them to be able to create a motherhood experience they want, not necessarily what I want, not necessarily what like is cool, the new fad of society or the latest science finding or whatever. And so that's really what was like a calling, like a pull of start spreading this and connecting people. And maybe my motherhood won't look like the traditional, what it looked like when I just had one baby. Now I have two, but I also like want to birth this other like business that helps support other moms. So yeah,
Yes.
that's kind of what started it.
I love it. I love it. And don't you
Yeah.
also think like it's, even though there's so many mothers on this planet, it does feel like it's the best kept secret that
Yeah.
like what happens afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we talk, but it's like you say, when you said we have to talk about it, but people don't hear it. And
Yeah.
that is how I feel. You get pushed through that invisible wall, and then you're on the other
Yeah.
side, and you suddenly, oh, this is how it looks like. Oh, how come
Yeah.
I never, like, when I was over there, it didn't sound like that.
Yeah.
This is how I have it in my
Exactly.
head. And it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so important that we like, this is why I do this, right? This is why I am so
Yeah.
passionate about spreading the word, because I also feel like you, it's, there's not enough resources, there's not enough
Mhm.
people advocating for it and supporting the ones. Like, motherhood in itself is already a full-time job, and is already
Yeah.
the greatest that you could be doing. I always
Yeah.
think of rock stars and superheroes when I
Yeah.
look around.
I love that.
But then some, like us, we add something else, and that's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and so how do you, like, what do you feel like is your definition of sovereignty when it comes to balancing this, like,
Oh, yeah.
this
That's a
duo?
great question. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I think for me, anyways, becoming really clear with how I want to live my life and interact.
Mm.
And I often think about, uh, and this is like maybe kind of morbid, but I often kind of think about like the death meditation, and specifically like for my kids. I'm like, what are my kids going to say about me when I'm gone? And so how kind of, yeah, maybe they're like, yeah, I saw mom reach her goals. She had this goal and she hit it. But I don't necessarily just want them to say that. Like, I want them to say how I did that, how I made them feel, how I was able to stay connected with them, enjoy my life, have fun and laugh and have a business. And let's just say I decide I don't really want it anymore. I want them to see me not force it and not try to maintain a life that I think I should have because I think it'd be really cool to be an entrepreneur. Or maybe I switch and I'm like, hey, I'm running this business right now. doesn't feel aligned anymore, I'm about to go and open up like 5 mini coffee shops. And, I often think about on my deathbed what they would say and how I want them to feel moving forward through their life, and then try to create that almost daily. More so like the journey of my life shows the success of what most people would say. She got the business, she did the business, she was so hardworking. But I really want that hardworking to be, she was in alignment, she had fun, she like didn't sweat when things went wrong, or things like that. So I really have planned growing my business around staying present and connected and being able to enjoy my life and grow a business. And so maybe, sure, it's not as fast as somebody who's spending 40 hours a week, like head in the game doing it, but that's okay. I don't want to do that. So I think staying in that integrity with how I want the journey to flow and still have the growth is how I've been navigating that like sovereignty within it.
Don't you also think that making this exact decision is part of the reason why sometimes time collapses and you're actually
Yeah.
quite leaping? Because I do 100% believe that when you are trusting your intuition and that you're on that path, just the way you
Yeah.
described there's no way that you're not on your path, right?
Yeah.
And so things magically appear because
Yeah.
you are in alignment. And so actually
Yeah.
we like I'm
Yeah.
including myself and I'm including all the
Yes.
mothers who are doing they're following their purpose and their calling. We we actually get to be as successful as those who are putting in 40 hours because in during
Yeah.
those 40 hours they might be plugging into something and going into a direction that
Yeah.
is not that's forced, that's not in alignment. And so I sometimes
Yeah.
really do sit down and hug my children, and I'm so grateful
Yeah.
because I give them a lot of credit for my efficiency, for my
Yeah.
focus,
Yeah.
because right now, like I told you, it's 6 a.m. I know they will wake up soon, but right now I have this precious bubble of time where I get to be fully
Yeah.
present in my business. And the minute they come, I know it's breakfast time, and then I switch over
Yeah.
and I'm fully present in mamahood.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
because I have that, and I know you get me, because when
Yeah.
you have it, you know it, then
Yes.
um, coffee tastes more delicious when you're sitting
Yeah.
yourself in a coffee shop,
Yeah.
not having the kids around for 20 minutes, for example,
Yeah.
or you work on your business, focus.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so
The
I do love
efficiency
that.
piece.
Yes,
Yes.
the efficiency piece. Anything else? Like what do you feel like has motherhood given you aside from the beautiful children and the experience part? But when you think about your business and the way you run it.
Yeah. Oh, that is a really good question. So much. I mean, everything. Can I just say literally everything? And motherhood has changed every idea. I had run a business before becoming a mom, and it was more of that grind and like put in the hours, even if the hours weren't productive or efficient, and thinking there has to be a better way, but everyone else is doing it this way. And then you become a mom and you realize that time is the most precious commodity and you have to be able to be efficient. And sometimes that, like, especially when you have more than one child and they're having their fights and you're trying to navigate making breakfast as they're yelling at each other over a toy, and then the water spills and now there's a mess and the dog starts barking. And so all of these things, which before having kids would just have like set me in just a tailspin of just like overwhelm of, oh my gosh, I can't handle all this. So I think having kids really prepares you and helps you be able to expand that capacity to hold a lot more. So you can hold, maybe you're making eggs while voice messaging a client, or I don't know, playing with your kids, and you're fully present playing with your kids, and then they're off to school. And now you only have 2 hours, and you can, in those 2 hours, get as much work done that someone gets done in a full 8 hour shift or a 10-hour shift. and yeah, just like you said, like you're in that alignment and it just almost quantum leaps into, you can't not succeed at that point. And, but I think that realizing too that it's more about being in the present moment and in this time and making the most efficient use of this time instead of necessarily multitasking, where
Mm.
maybe, because I fell into that at the beginning where I was trying to grow, start a business while also being with the kids. I'm at home with the kids all the time. So I would try to interact with them while trying to figure out how to grow. And then it was just like, they're
Mm.
kind of annoyed. I'm kind of annoyed. I'm trying to get this done. They want to play. And then everyone's in a bad mood. So I really think that piece of the presence of, okay, right now I'm talking to you and it's amazing. Like I can give you my full presence. I'm watching the sunrise in your back window. Like it's beautiful. Like you start to notice these little things. And I know like my kids are fine. And then it's the same thing that you just said. We're going to finish. We're going to do dinner and I'm going to put work away until tomorrow. So I think, yeah, it's just really being present and focused. And like the kids, when you have kids, I think you can either get really overwhelmed, which I think happens to all of us, but then that opens up the opportunity to be able to expand, to be able to allow a lot of chaos and be able to stay focused and clear and not like, just completely depleted, I
Mm.
guess. Yeah.
Yes. And also, what my turning point was when I realized and really fully understood what it means to being the sovereign mama and really
Yeah.
embodying it in those moments where no one's watching,
Yes. Yeah.
where I'm alone in the toilet and having all these like feelings build up, and I hear my sons outside and I know the to-do list is over there, like waiting over here. And
Yeah.
I'm like then pulling my like getting myself to a grounded energy rather than
Yeah.
oh, it's so easy to lose it all.
So
And
easy.
it's but then realizing, okay, what's the next step? And only the next step
Yeah.
matters. Oh, children need
Yeah.
food. Or
Yeah.
fine. Oh, perfect. I have 5 minutes to just quickly do
Do
that.
this.
Right.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and then really always like this, but this is also something that you can really practice, or in my case, I really
Yeah.
practiced it to an extent where I always thought there is a camera team. There's someone
Oh.
watching. And that
Uh-huh.
helps me so much to then, when something like uh, explodes or whatever, milk spill,
Yeah.
and you're like, and you're like, how would you like,
Yeah.
how would, okay, hang on. There's
Yeah.
a better way of reacting. All right. And then
Yeah.
suddenly it's fun. Like it's so much more.
Yeah. So much more fun. And yeah, I think that like bringing that play in and that fun is so amazing. And I love that you said that because sometimes I'll do something really similar and I'll pretend like, okay, zoom out. Someone's watching this from like a comedic, like I'm on some comedy sitcom thing and like this just happened. How would that play out? It's always something funny. Like
Mhm.
so just be like, oh yeah, it's just like the spilt milk, or yeah, now I have to clean some more. It's motherhood. What do you expect? I'm wiping another butt. Like,
Ex- Exactly. Oh, perfect. And how exactly does it look like what you're shaping at the minute? And if someone is really intrigued and says, "Oh, I
oh
would
yeah.
love to learn more," how can they get involved and what is it?
Yeah. So I created in from coming out of survival mode, Good Enough Matrescence,
Mhm.
which matrescence being, that whole journey, like literally the whole journey till we're dead, once we become a mom or become pregnant, or even that inkling of wanting to become a mom and like everything starting to change, but then being good enough. So we're not aiming for perfection. You can't be perfect in anything, but being good enough allows us for room for growth and allows us to be present and playful and connected. And so that's why I called it Good Enough Matrescence. And essentially, it is a massive resource library and global co-op to help redefine and really rewrite how motherhood support looks like or what it looks like. And the whole basis behind it is to be encouraging, supportive, having really just the word encouraging comes to empowering support so that every mom can feel confident in their choices of how they want to do motherhood, because it looks very different from you to me to Sally to, and maybe like the latest guru is telling you like you have to do this, or like this bad thing will happen. But
Mm.
okay, take that, and if that makes sense to you, cool. But if it doesn't, then do something different and you're not a bad parent. So the whole premise is just this like empowerment of moms. And there's a resource library and a resource directory in a library where people can get more bite-sized information, ebooks, downloads, things like that, that fall into pregnancy, birth, postpartum, beyond the fourth trimester, and then anything related to children. So like parenting comes in there to play, or like really anything relating to children. If you have a neurodivergent child and want support, like anything. So support for that entire matrescence journey. And then we have the co-op aspect, where a bunch of professionals have come together under this library and are providing their resources. So we have like pelvic floor restoration courses, like a 6-week restore your pelvic floor after a
Mhm.
baby, or really anytime, because our pelvic floors feel like they always need to be healthy.
Mhm.
But lots of different things, different nervous system modalities, nervous system regulation modalities. There's yoga, there's art, there's all sorts of resources then that we can use to help our
Mm.
real life situations that we have. Like if you have a NICU baby and you're in the NICU, having that support, but like if you're not, like you don't need to utilize that support. um
Right.
so there's just like, you can come in, it's not a course, it's not like, oh, to find the best motherhood you need to start here and end here. It's more like, where are you at, what are you searching for? Oh, you want some help with nervous system regulation, here is a bunch of modalities, let's see what works for you in different situations. You want information on this, here you go. And then
Mhm.
we have the community, obviously, too, where all of us get together and we can chat, and we have virtual meetups, we have like texting on Slack, to
Oh,
really have that community of empowerment. Yeah.
amazing. Amazing. And yeah, we definitely need to continue the conversation after this, because I can
Yeah.
refer a few people who are like, I have doulas who are building online
Oh,
business
yeah.
too, and support online
Yeah.
and things like that. So if anyone
Amazing.
listening and does think
Yeah.
of someone who could be a contributor, not
Yeah.
if you're still open
For
and
sure. Oh, we
really,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, we want it. So we are global at the moment. We have people all over the world, both from the member side and the partnership co-op side. But absolutely, like we want to grow it to where we have options. Like you and I both might like yoga, but like I like this instructor and you like that instructor, or we want a doula. This doula, like I just don't really agree with her, but I love this doula. So having options, I think having that choice really opens up that freedom for us in
Okay,
motherhood too. So absolutely. Yeah. Anyone listening that wants to be
perfect.
a part of it, contribute, join, and like all of the
Yeah, so
areas.
I really love how aligned our missions are, because
Yeah,
that's such a confirmation that
they
we
really
are
are.
waking up, that there's, yes, there is something that isn't quite right in our
Yeah.
society and how we do motherhood. And when you spoke, I was thinking um exactly what you just described is true for entrepreneurship as well.
It
And
is.
right, so there's
It
no
is.
one way of doing it. And so, and this is why I created Sovereign Mamas, because I'm really thinking that there is not enough resources for mompreneurs. It's always about, yeah, so you're an entrepreneur, this is how you do it, you're a mama, right?
Hmm.
And but
Yep.
blending and fusing these two things, that's in itself an art,
Yeah.
act of art, and creating your way of having it
Yeah.
both done needs some support, and needs some leaders that are sharing how they are doing it, so that others also say, oh, it can be done. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I really love that you're doing that. And
Well,
perhaps we
I
can
love that you're doing
plug
that
each other's
for
systems
sure.
in our worlds, because
Yeah.
it's like, um, yeah.
No, it's so true. And I think that there's more moms becoming entrepreneurs or mompreneurs or whatever the word is for them. because we do then get to have more freedom in how we want to live our life and how we want to raise our kids. And it doesn't mean you have to stay home. Like they could go to school, like you could go
Hmm.
get an office, some like exactly like you said, there is no one way. There's so many ways. And I
Yeah.
think it really does allow for that freedom to
Yeah.
really fit your life, which I love.
Yeah.
Like that's why I love what you do too. It's so true.
Thank you. And I am in conversations with other mompreneurs about co-authoring a book, and
Do
it's
it.
yes, and it's one thing that someone said when I shared the vision for the book and everything, and she was like, you know what? I really want to cover that chapter about pre, like, because she was always thinking and conditioned, you either do motherhood or
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. And so she was pushing motherhood back to an
Mhm.
extent where she then became like, so panicked, and she's like, I'm running out of time, I'm nearly, I'm turning 40 almost. And then and she said something when she realized that she actually can have both. She was like, oh my gosh, why did
Yeah.
I wait for so long? But, and that's really true too, the freedom that you just touched on, it's not instant. And that's also something
Yeah.
that some people may think that, like, you have to build it, and you have to know that the first 2 years of motherhood it's full on. It's
Yeah.
the hormones, it's the adjustment, it's oh my gosh, it's so much.
Yeah. So
And knowing that
much.
and planning for this gives you the power to actually, if you're pre-birth or pre-pregnancy
Yeah.
in that stage, then yes, build your business in a way so that you can be hands off
Yeah.
during 2 years,
2 years.
um,
Yeah.
ideally hands
Yeah.
off. And I guess that is also something that not a lot of people are aware of, because who talks
Mm-mm.
about this? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No one. I mean, I'm sure some people do because you know, some people do, but it is definitely not as common
no,
knowledge as it could be. Yeah, it's so true. And I think that that definitely touches on a good point, like pre-kids versus post-kids
mm,
with a business, because you think you can run it the same way you did before kids, and you can't. And then like you change, like you actually change, your
yes,
biology changes, like you might want something different, and then you feel bad that for wanting something different when you thought you wanted something else. Or yeah, the whole, like, yes, giving ourselves grace and compassion for I would even say like 2 to 5 years to
yeah,
just
yes.
really let that kind of level out. Or
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I mean, I can now hear my sons get out, but I feel like
yeah,
we definitely have uh, a good deal of information, hopefully a lot of
yeah,
inspiration for mamas out there or pre-mama state
yeah,
women.
yeah,
And I'm going to add all your resources to the show notes. And if this episode spoke to you, make sure you stay connected here, because this is exactly the
yeah,
kind of motherhood revolution we're committed
yeah.
to. And Sami, I really applauding you for doing this. The world needs more of this. And I
Thank you.
loved our conversation. Thank you so much for
Yeah, thank
jumping
you so
on,
much.
taking the time. Thanks for listening, everyone.